Hey there guys, Inferno here with some brand new news about Survive the Nights again. This information is all thanks to a moderator of the Survive the Nights community. His name is Dr. Oud, I believe. He's a French chap that literally has just brought out some really nice information for everyone on a French video forum, I believe. This information was courtesy of one of my subscribers. I can't remember your name right now. I think it was like Ninja Tazen or something like that. If I butchered your name or got it wrong, I'm very sorry. But you're an absolute godsend for this information. Um, I'll just dive right into it. Okay, so we've got a bunch of information about the graphics and the gameplay of the game, and that's what I'm going to be listing off today. I'll go through it bit by bit, and then I'll talk about my opinions on the sort of information listed. So first off, we've got the actual graphics presets. They go low, medium, high, ultra, and then custom, which is, you know, where you sort of tweak things so you could have like shadows really low but textures really high. That's what I usually do because I just don't like shadows in games because they hide people, you know. If it's something you can turn off, you might as well. Then the list of things you can change ranges from texture quality, object quality, quality of shadows, something additional about shadows, because this is all translated from French. The actual excerpt's a bit sketchy to read when it's translated. Camera effects, which I assume is stuff like chromatic aberration, things like that, and water quality. So I'm guessing reflections, sort of the form of the waves, things like that. If you've played GTA, you'd understand. VSync is off by default, apparently. Resolutions go up to 1080. Now, whether they were playing at a 1080 sort of P standard system, so if they were playing on a card that can't go above 1080, that might be why, but as far as I'm aware, what they're saying here is the resolution does not go over 1080, which is interesting considering how nice the graphics are meant to be, but I'll get to that. Full screen and windowed are the options. It's full screen without a border apparently, so I'm assuming it's windowed like borderless for full screen rather than actual like front application, like always on top, that sort of thing. There are still worries with the lighting of the game. Some things are a bit too bright. If you are aiming at something that returns a light, the light will possibly blind you in some cases because it is so bright. So maybe there's a few lighting engine bugs. That's to be expected in early access. To be honest, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, if you look at DayZ where you could shine a flashlight through a house, it can't be as bad. There are still some concerns based around the textures on the ground, but those are quickly repairable apparently, according to the devs, I assume. An example is two ends of land might not touch, so there might be like a cut-off between the textures rather than fading into each other. So I'm sure that can get fixed pretty quickly. Some door passages are bugged, so if you try to go into a building, you won't be able to walk into the building, it'll just bug entirely. Got an objective opinion here, which is that the game is genuinely gorgeous in Ultra. The game's on Unity 5, I think. I haven't played a Unity 5 game that I can immediately think of, so I can't really speak for whether that'd be true or not. I expect the game to be quite nice in Ultra, to be honest, but I mean, the textures look nice, but the actual models and things I'm not too sure about, and I'll sort of let you guys know about that when I actually get my hands on the game. Not sure when that's going to be, though. Now, going into the gameplay side of things. The sound, I don't see why this is listed under gameplay, to be honest. It should have its own section, but the sound apparently is incredibly good. The sound of weapons, the weapons don't resonate, and you don't have a lot of hindsight. Not sure what they mean there. There's just the opposite. The weapon echoes when you shoot, the noise is different when it's in a building. It flashes in the night, which can help you survive because the night is very dark. So what I'm guessing is whoever was working on sound engineering must have done a pretty good job. From what I saw from previous Survive the Nights videos, I wasn't too impressed by the sound. So if they've changed that, good, I guess. That's nice to hear. Speaking of the night, you will see for yourself that it is very difficult to survive. The zombies can surprise you at any moment, and they do a lot of damage at night. I mean, that was to be expected, wasn't it? The game is called Survive the Nights. I mean, if it's easy to survive the nights, you define the point in your game title. Your character can mark a spirit of panic when too many zombies appear around you. You will hear your character breathing heavily, hearing noises from elsewhere, such as when you would have an actual panic attack. interesting. I guess that's part of the mentality system that's coming into the game. It sounds quite good. The mental health system is implemented and working quite well. In our version, your character does not commit suicide yet. On the other hand, we do hear strange noises, and the character often looks at his hands. Your vision is also not the same. So I assume that means that your vision gets a bit blurry when you start being a bit of a bitch. Let's see, what else have we got. You have an endurance bar. You can run for 90 seconds before the bar is empty, but every jump will take you 3 to 4 endurance points. Not sure how that works, but I'm not too sure whether I like the idea of a limited sprint on a game that is going to be a walking simulator. Kind of worrying to hear. I hope that's something that's implemented well, because if you're having to run between cities and things and you have to stop every 90 seconds and regen your stamina, people are not going to like that. It's as simple as that. People won't enjoy it. It's realistic, fair enough, but people aren't going to enjoy that. You have a thirst bar to watch, or you will lose life little by little, so I'm assuming that's just basic dehydration. A calorie bar to watch too, otherwise your character will be slower and carry fewer things. I like that. If you don't eat on most other survival games until the very last sort of few minutes, say on DayZ, you don't really suffer for it until you are genuinely malnourished, like some sort of homeless dude. It's interesting that you will be weaker when you are hungry. I like that. That's a good thing to have. What else have we got? Health bar is also classic. It is out of 100. I'm not sure why there'd be a visible health bar, but I'd rather have it. Going back to DayZ again, or a few other survival games. Can't really list any off immediately. I think Project Zomboid did it pretty interestingly. They did have a health bar, but it was handled well. So I assume when you get shot, you just take a set amount of health damage, and then if you're wearing armor, some of that is negated. So, okay, fair enough. I don't know if we're going to have like blood and things like that to worry about outside of this, but I guess we'll find out. Moving on, you can search a lot of furniture, whether outside or inside of buildings. Just use the take option to take the object into your inventory. You can view the description of the object by clicking on it in your inventory. You will see what it does. Blah 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 blah. Kitchens work well. I assume that just means cooking food works. Crafting still has a lot of worries. Now, this is what concerns me. As far as I'm aware, a couple months back, the developers swapped the crafting system to like. Well, they didn't like swap it, they changed how it worked, and by the looks of it, it's still very unrefined. I guess that's what the moderator sort of thing is for in the backer release, but the fact that it's this close to coming out, or well, meant to be, and there's still worries about one of the key core parts of the game, that could lead to a lot of problems and disgruntled people if it's still an issue in backer. I doubt it will be. Electricity is working, which is great to hear. That's going to be another functional, key functional element of the game. I can't speak, sorry boys, I'm getting tongue twisted. Despite a small problem with the generators, when you turn on generators, the whole server will hear it, and they will also hear it when you pour gasoline into it. It remains at 1 minute only the ignition time. Not sure what that means. I'm going to assume that you hear the sound for 1 minute after someone turns it on server-wide because there's a sound bug. That's going to get fixed. I mean, it sounds like a really, really easy bug, but I'm guessing that's going to get fixed. If something like that is left in the game, people aren't going to play it, because I don't want to listen to someone using a generator that's 20 kilometers away. I have faith in the devs to fix that. The padlocks and traps do not work yet in their version. I'm assuming this will be working for backer release, because if it isn't, backer release is honestly going to be a lot less entertaining than people are expecting, because you won't be able to like lock bases and put traps around it. The fact that traps don't work, but they worked in the trailer, and they said that they didn't falsify anything in the trailer, I think, concerns me, because that means they've broken recently, if that's the case. Hunting does not work yet, which also means that it was faked in the trailer. Kind of worrying. I mean, a lot of people want to sort of play this game living out of the wilderness, not looting houses and things. So the fact that hunting doesn't work, I assume it'll be fixed for alpha. I mean, it'll definitely be fixed for alpha. if it's not, I'd be surprised. You can kill a zombie with a single bullet to the head as well, which I like. You know, it's a zombie game at the end of the day, and you know, aim for the brain is usually the general gist of things. So one-shotting a zombie by shooting it in the head is something I'd have expected, to be honest. Otherwise, you're going down the route of like really crap survival games that just don't have sort of logical zombies, and they just take way too many shots to kill or something. But the next developer update, this is the final point here, the next developer update should be tomorrow, so Sunday, the 24th, I believe that'd be. Yep, the 24th, or early next week. So until then, we don't have any official announcements. I assume it's going to be an announcement saying that they've had to push it back because, according to this, they're in the final note here, like a little PS, is for the moment there are a good 50 reported bugs by the moderators, of which 20 of them have to be corrected before they can release the game to backers. So depending on the scale of some of these bugs, like they've said, some are quite bad, some aren't. We might have some issues with how long backer release is going to take. I'm still plugging for late October backer release, to be completely honest. I don't think we'll have to wait until November unless something really bad comes out, but until then we've got a lot of interesting announcements from other games coming. The DayZ beta's coming pretty soon. Dead Matter's still being developed. If you haven't gone and checked that out, it's a pretty nice game. Miscreated still getting quite common updates. Rust is really starting to take off as well if you prefer PvP. I can't immediately think of any other games. Scum is another good game. I think I've mentioned that in one of my videos before. It's called Scum Game. Go check that out if you like realism. I believe that's meant to be like a sort of... It's a milsim mixed with survival, so if you like Arma 3 and you like survival, go check that out because you will probably really enjoy that. I'm quite hyped for Scum to come out, and all the videos are voiced by some guy with the most sensual accent you've ever heard, and his name's Dick, as far as I'm aware, which just makes it even better. But apart from that, that's the end of this video. If you're not following my Twitter and Twitch, make sure you do so. The links are in the description below. And apart from that, I'll see you guys after the developer announcement update. I did mention in a previous video that I probably won't be covering many of the survival games at the moment because, for example, when I uploaded my Tarkov video, that got like I say, about 10% of my normal views. So I don't see much point at the moment because it's basically branching out into audiences while maintaining sort of content that my current subscribers might not be interested in. So if anyone's got any sort of suggestions or things they'd like to hear about other games, let me know, and I might consider doing some other games. But for now, everything else related to other survival games is on hold, and I'm focusing on Survive the Nights. I'm trying to stay as detached from the community as possible because it just doesn't go well when I go talk to them. So if anyone wants to leave useful links in the comments and things, if you want to tell me any sort of information that you found, and I'll put it into videos like this because that's going to be my main source of information now, that and the forums. I occasionally drop in the Discord and check the updates section to see if there's been any announcements, but this information, like I say, was brought to me by a subscriber, which is just awesome, really. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I shall see you in a couple of days, I assume. Unless you follow me on my Twitch, then whenever I'm next live, I might be live when you're watching this video, and you'll get a little notification about it. So come say hi. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one.